Beautiful. So nice to be shooting with Kiki again. This little guy is the Megadap M to RF adapter, and they claim it's the first adapter that's going to let you bridge the gap between your rangefinder M mount glass and Canon and their fantastic dual pixel autofocus system. Revolutionary. It's not the very first, but it gives you autofocus on these lenses, which themselves are only manual focus. So in this video, I'm going to go through, talk to you about adapter history and different kinds of adapter tech, and check out if this is actually a fantastically helpful tool for hybrid creators that you can actually use, or if it's another disappointing, gimmicky early release that doesn't really deliver on what it promises. Hopefully the former. Hey folks, if you want to level up your portraiture, check out my new free 5-part guide to portraiture that's live over at learn.macgranger right now. It takes you through all the fundamentals, including perspective and focal lengths, camera settings, quality and direction of light, working with models, as well as portrait retouching. A new episode launches each week, and there's little assignments for you to do along the way to make it interactive. It's completely free, as I said, and we'd love to have you as part of the community. Check it out, full details are below. So how have you been? How long has it been since we shot together? Like a year, 2 years?
2 years,
or even more?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for finally returning my call.
Yeah.
Nice to work, I'm joking, nice to be working together again.
Missing you.
Oh, so much. We put this shoot together today because I have the M to RF adapter to shoot with. We recently shot at Comic-Con, and I think you saw those posts and were interested to shoot a Betty Boop styled shoot. And then we thought, why not put together a whole retro theme? So I've got, thanks to my buddy Stan from Three Amigos, I've loaned a bunch of M mount glass so that we can test this out. Now, through all of the compression, you're not going to see the best image quality. So whilst we test the stills and video performance of this guy, I'll be giving you raw files from the Canon, as well as 4K video files, so you can check them out for yourself, download them, put them in Lightroom or Premiere, whatever, and check them out. So do that. Links below, and then let me know in the comments what you think of the files, and let's continue with our testing. Now, I'll just get a little off the top, please. Now, I thought it's worth sitting in and chatting about what's the difference between different adapters and why myself and a lot of other creators are skeptical. I've tested so many different adapters and there's a lot that can go wrong. Essentially, you're asking, if it's an autofocus adapter, you're asking the camera and lens to communicate when they were never meant to. Think of like Google Translate and you're having two people who have no idea of each other's language. It may work, but there's always going to be some miscommunications. So first kind of adapter you have is this guy. These are kind of nothing can go wrong. This is what you would call a dumb adapter. This guy, this is a NovaFlex M to Z, so putting Leica lenses onto a Nikon body, and all it does is take the lens, connect to the camera, and there's no terminals on either side. That's all it is. It's the correct flange distance to correct the difference between the two lens systems, but all it does is let you mount the lens. So that works great if it's a manual focus lens anyway, and if your camera can still meter and everything, no problem. Next up we have these, which are far more complex. This is a full autofocus adapter. So this one, for example, takes E-mount lenses and puts them onto Z-mount, and it literally needs to have the translator built in so that it's communicating what the camera wants, further, closer, and telling the lens that in the foreign language. Now these are getting better and better, but they're still not kind of perfect. But this is designed for autofocus lenses on autofocus cameras of different systems. And then finally you've got these guys. Now they've been around for a while, and this is what the new Megadap is. It's essentially a push-pull adapter. So you probably know this already, but if you push a lens further from the sensor, it makes it focus closer. It's bellows or an extension tube. So that's what this kind of adapter does. It's translating what the camera needs, focus closest, focus farther, but then instead of telling the lens to do that, because Leica lenses have no autofocus capability, it just pushes the lens away to make it focus closer or brings it back to focus further, kind of counterintuitive. So you set your L mount lens to infinity, and then when it needs to focus closer, it will push it further from the body. So there's not that much that can go wrong, but one thing to note, the great thing about Leica lenses, that look that everyone talks about, is largely down to the floating element design, that the lenses move at different distances depending on where you're focused, and you lose that with this kind of an adapter because you're just banging it at infinity and then using it as like it's on an extension tube. Adding this kind of an adapter adds a layer of complexity to any system, and I'm loath to criticize the adapter or the camera. We can't criticize the lens in this case because they were never meant to work together. But if this is a viable option, especially for Canon shooters, this is a huge win because RF is unarguably the most closed mount in the mirrorless realm. You just have no third-party full-frame autofocus options. So whilst they're expensive Leica lenses and they're not designed for autofocus, if this does let you do it, then any lens you have that you could then adapt to an M mount, you could do this push-pull malarkey with as well. And so far I have to say it's going pretty well. It hasn't been without its errors. If you want to see full behind the scenes on this shoot and all kinds of other shoots like the shoots we just did in Bangkok, they're already going live, head on over to Patreon Uncut. You can see all the fun and games that go on shoots like these for YouTube, as well as boudoir and the different course and commercial shoots we have. Full details below. So my buddy Junior has this camera set up with back button autofocus, and I think in this case that's actually the best because I don't want it to be always refocusing when it's just a slow portrait shoot. So getting the focus and leaving it is good. Have to say, this like 50 or 60 or 90mm lens, I'm loving the look it's giving, and it picks up flare. I feel like Michael Bay shooting this thing. There's just flare going everywhere. I'm worried something's about to explode. Shooting the video, I found the old 35mm the adapter was silent, and at 1.4 even, it was just staying with her eye, and it seemed to be doing a really great job. I'll give you that file to download for yourself. Now go back to the back of the seat, and you can come towards the lens again. You can come close on this one. Actually, it seems to be doing okay.
And not too loud.
Surprising. But using the old 50, it was not accurate and it was hunting a lot, and the adapter was quite noisy. Huh. No, this one just is not happy. Okay, no, too close on this one. Okay, that might be its closest focus. But actually, this should essentially work as a macro. So if I have it like at its minimum of 1 meter, It should let me get silly close. No, that's a closest. One thing to note, they say to focus your lens to infinity and then do the push-pull, but on a lens like this, it's such a huge distance. Like it can focus down to 3 meters or to infinity. Others it can focus to like 80 centimeters. If I know that she's 2.5 to 3 meters away, I don't bother setting it to infinity. I just set it to like 6 meters away or something. So something that I know is further than her but close, so that the floating lens elements are kind of close to the right position and it won't need to adjust the adapter so far to get her in the right position. But yeah, I gotta say, for stills, for this kind of a shoot, I'm enjoying it, and I especially enjoy this 90mm lens. So thanks to both Junio and Stanton for Three Amigos for loaning me this entire kit. So let's see if it can stay with her as I get closer. I think this is pretty much a no, although this lens is on the edge of the weight limit of the system. Look back to me. Yeah, it's basically just not doing anything right now. Frozen again. When I turn it off, it gave me a make sure you put the lens cap on. Please note, guys, that we're testing an early sample of the adapter here. Actually, after we finished shooting, Megadap offered to send us an updated version that they say solves the occasional lockup and focus issues. Unfortunately, we were not able to get that in time to test in this video. Let me know if you'd like to see an update video on that in the future. Now, the adapter can actually store some of your most used different lenses in their profiles, essentially. Then it's got one button on the side to enable autofocus or manual focus, and the other side has a little switch that you can switch to adjust to tell the camera what aperture you're using, but you have to pre-program that. For example, by default, it's on 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 6, and 8. But if you're using a faster lens, you can change it to be like f1 for your wide open setting, that kind of thing. So you need to then adjust your aperture and adjust that setting. Now that's just so you have something in the metadata. Of course, the camera doesn't really know what's going on in terms of the lens. And I have to say the software to use is super clunky. It looks like something written in 80s DOS, but it gets the job done. In terms of strike rate, it's kind of hard to say exactly how many the adapter was getting accurate, maybe 8 or 9 out of 10, but it's hard to know what was user error because it doesn't record where I had the focus on the lens actually set. And with these old lenses, Lightroom often says that they're not in focus when, to my eye, they look fine. Considering these lenses are manual focus only, I think that's a pretty remarkable result. So for me, you saw what the hit rate was there, so that just is what it is. In terms of the shooting experience, this is kind of casual and relaxed, and we did have a couple of times it froze, we did have a lens communication error, but to be fair, we also had our Nikon lost focus and then also froze on today's shoot, so it does just happen, right? I think if you have some interesting M mount glass, and I have to say this 90 and then the 50 we were shooting with are really interesting looks, then I think it's good enough to get portraits or still life or things that aren't moving a whole lot. And then for video, the 35 was definitely doing the best. I think that's a little bit more patchy, and you would need to test a few different lenses to see what combo works best for you. It's not going to be as reliable as the photography, but definitely a fun little gadget. I'll have details to it below. This is not a sponsored video though, just testing it out. You can also check out the sample files there. You can see Kiki's social media and also Patreon Uncut. Let us know any questions you have, and we'll see you guys soon.